Hello everybody, it is Monday afternoon and we are going to do some music, and this one kind of follows along from last week's lesson. So if you didn't watch last week's lesson, you might want to start from there, okay? But we're going to carry on with the things we were looking at last time. So last time we were looking at creating our own rhythms using body percussion, okay? So remember, there were some really key terms we learned about last week. First of all, we learned about pulse, okay? So pulse is a steady beat, and it's like the heartbeat of a song, okay? So just like how we can measure our pulse in our body, our heart rate, songs also have a pulse, okay? It's that steady beat, okay? So Mr. Fenn, who's on technology here, you can't see him right now. Mr. Fenn, can you play the pulse we've set up on this metronome here?
Of course.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's enough of that. So that is a pulse, okay? And in fact, there's 80 beats per minute in that pulse. That means in the space of a minute, you'll hear that 80 times, okay? Just like how when we measured our heart rate, we did it in beats per minute. You can do the same thing with songs, okay? By working out how many beats there are in that pulse per minute. Okay, you can make that faster or slower. So, Mr. Fenn, could you make a nice fast pulse? If your heart was doing that, you'd be in trouble, wouldn't you? Yeah, so if you stop that one, that was very fast, okay? And it'd be very difficult for me to clap a rhythm or to do a rhythm alongside that pulse. That's too fast. Okay, we could also go really slow. So could we have a really slow pulse? Now that would be incredibly slow, okay? It takes a very long time. So I don't want that either, okay? So we've set our pulse today. There we go, Mr. Fenn's just calibrating. Okay, we've set our pulse today at 80 beats per minute. You might want to do the same on the online metronome. If that's still a bit quick, you might want to go a bit slower, okay? The point is though, we need a steady pulse that's the right speed so that when we do our rhythm, it's not too difficult to clap or do percussion along to, okay? So, let's have a little warm up. We're going to do some rhythms, okay? So remember, pulse is the steady beat, and then rhythm are a series of long and short sounds, a pattern of long and short sounds. And that goes kind of over the top of the pulse. So we're going to get this pulse playing, and we'll do a bit of my turn, your turn. I will clap out a rhythm, and I want you at home to clap it back. The pulse will be playing as we do that. So, Mr. Fenn, hit the pulse. Start from where we were last week. I like eating fish and chips. 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 Try it at home. 4. I like eating fish and chips. I like eating fish and chips. I think that's good. Right, okay, so we are going to, today, move on slightly. So rather than just clapping or using our bodies as percussion, remember in music, percussion are the instruments like drums that you beat, okay, or strike. We're going to use things we can find around the house, okay? So I've got here, we found, I mean, we're not in a house, are we, Mr. Fenn? We are in school.
In the studio.
In the studio, yeah, we're just jamming in the studio right now. And we found, I mean, I found, which I thought would be quite good, this stool that we use to stand on. Bit dirty, but I thought this was a good thing to use because it's got quite a large flat surface, okay, which means it's quite easy for me to strike it with my hand, okay? You might want to use maybe pots and pans, check with a grown-up though for permission, or something like this, okay? You might want to use a table. If you've got a table, okay, tables make great percussion, kind of a bit like drums. Bucket, if you've got a bucket. Yeah, loving this quick fire. Anything around the house that you think will be good for percussion. So if you want to pause the video now and find yourself some percussion. Okay, so hopefully you've done that. If you haven't, hit pause again and find some percussion. Okay, what we're going to do then is exactly the same thing. Well, actually, I think first of all, it'd be good to kind of experiment with the different noises you can make, okay? Because even though it's not like, say, a xylophone where you've got different notes that you can make, you can still make different kinds of sounds depending on whereabouts you hit it and how you hit it, okay? So I've got my tub here. Now, if I hit it in the middle, in fact, can you put the pulse on? I'll do it alongside the pulse.
Yep.
4. Okay, so that's the sound I get if I hit it in the middle. But then if I hit the edges, it makes a different sound, okay? Okay, so can we put the pulse on, please? Okay, so that's one way. You can kind of affect the sound it makes depending on where you hit it, where you strike it, okay? The other thing to bear in mind is how you're using your hand to hit your percussion. So I was doing this, alright, kind of putting my hand, almost like I'm high-fiving it, alright? But you could tap instead. Okay, with one finger maybe. So let's try that, shall we? Let's get the pulse going. 3, 4. Okay, in fact, arguably your grown-ups might prefer that because I think that was slightly quieter, wasn't it? So if they're on a meeting or something and you're bashing your drum like that, that might be annoying. So, have a little experiment. Again, you can hit pause if you'd like to and try and experiment with the different types of sounds you can make using your percussion, whether it's a pot or a pan or a table, whatever it is. Okay, so hopefully you've got a feel of your percussion now. Now you know the kinds of sounds you can make depending on how you hit it, whereabouts you hit it. What we're now going to do is try and put our rhythms again over the pulse, but this time, rather than using claps or hitting our bodies, we're going to use our percussion, okay? So, I'm going to start with our classic now, our go-to rhythm. What do you think I'm going to start with? What rhythm?
Oh, is it I Like Eating Fish and Chips?
Of course it's I Like Eating Fish and Chips. Okay, so, I get hungry every time I do these videos now. Right, let's start. 4. I like eating fish and chips. I like eating fish and chips. I like eating fish and chips. Okay, keep it playing. What I'm going to do, first of all, rather than trying to experiment with different taps and different parts of it, I'm just going to get used to doing the rhythm, okay, on the percussion. The same kind of beat each time. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like eating fish and chips. 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 Okay, so join in at home if you haven't done so already. Let's do it a few more times. 2, 3, 4. I like eating fish and chips. 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 Okay, and so on. So, there we go. So that's our first bit. Hopefully now you're getting used to that rhythm. I like eating fish and chips. All right? Now that we've got it, we can experiment a bit more. So maybe I could do some bits in the kind of middle of my drum, my percussion here, and some bits on the outside. So I could do I like eating fish and chips. okay? So maybe I could do that. Maybe I could do some taps and some strikes with my whole hand. So starting the pulse there. Yeah, okay. So it's kind of up to you there. I'm going to keep doing it though, and you might. What I'd like you to do is play along at home. So you try and do each time, maybe changing it up a bit, so you're hitting the side, not the middle. Trying to make the rhythm sound more interesting. Okay, so Mr. Fenn, start the pulse, please. 2, 3, 4. To say it, if that helps. Okay, so there we go. That's all from me. But what you've got today, you've got that link to the online metronome that you can play around with. So you could make it a bit faster. In fact, should we just do that? Not that fast, Mr. Fenn. That's far too fast. There's no way. I don't know, make it 120 BPM. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can make it faster, although I think that's about as fast as I could get probably with that. Or you can make it slower, so maybe 60 beats per minute. Okay, so that's a beat every second. Seconds, though, are actually a lot slower than you might imagine, I think. So if we press start, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can play around with the pulse. If it's too slow, that's also really hard. But if you're struggling to keep up, slow it down a bit. Okay, if you want to make it a slightly faster piece, maybe a dance piece, you might want to speed it up a bit. Okay, so have a play around with that. That pulse is what you're trying to keep in time with. Okay, and then come up with your rhythm. Okay, it can be just kind of nonsense words, kind of just a little phrase to say that you'll remember. Like, so we had "I like eating fish and chips," but you can come up with something else if you'd like to, and experiment with your percussion. Okay, use your pots, your pans, and create that rhythm in time with the pulse. As ever, we'd love to see any videos of this, so please do send them to Mr. Fenn and I. So yeah, have fun making music with your percussion at home. I'll see you next time for our next jam together.